not only in America, but also over in Japan. You've had a wild run over the last few years with Big Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
One of my biggest questions about this is Japan and the US have very contrasting styles in wrestling, and that's any type of wrestling, but very specifically deathmatch wrestling. What was the biggest difference for you going over there? And, you know, you've got Onita and you've got Funk and you've got Foley and the history of Japanese deathmatch wrestling. What was it like for you getting over there and being a part of it?
So I've been asked this by like other younger wrestlers too, like what was Japan like? What should I expect? And I've even had some other guys that have been doing it longer than me, but that went over. They asked what's it like, and I have to be upfront with them. This isn't me lying. This isn't me jerking my chain. If you know me, I don't blow smoke up my own ass. If you give me compliments, I go thank you, but I feel weird about it. Thank you. But when I went over there and I made my debut against Masashi Takeda last September, people were already chanting my name. It was crazy to me. And then after the match, I had the longest merch line. We went to Kurikan the next day. We went on a little mini tour, and it was just Akira. Like my experience is not what other people's experience is going to be. I am Korean Japanese, so I think that did help me a little bit. But like forever, I'd always hear how I have like a cult following in Japan, and I didn't believe it. And I went over there, and it was true. Like I had girls and I had guys coming up that were shaking and crying and so excited to meet me. And I tell people, I'm like, it's different when you go over there. Like for me, when I went over there with Pondo and Necro, and my friend Remington Roar, they told us, listen, they don't want to see you wrestle Japanese style. But for me, it was very much like, okay, they're going to expect a bit more out of me. I can't just go in there and do, I'm big, dumb gaijin, punch kick, brah at the crowd. The crowd already knew, like, no, we know you can wrestle. Like, you have to put your work in. And I did. And I'm very much happy to do that. Like, I love putting in the work like that. I came back after the match with Takeda, and Necro and Pondo just looked at me. They go, "Oh, kid, you made it. You're in." So, it's just a different experience. Like the Japanese fans really believe it. They really believe everything that you're doing. It's not some smart, tongue-in-cheek kind of shit with some American. There's some American fans or Western fans that think I'm edgier, than I'm a tryhard. Like, oh, he's pretending he's a badass, and the Japanese fans go, no, he does all this crazy stuff and for real. Like he's actually like you don't just do that because just for payday. You have to love it a little bit, and unfortunately, I do love it. Sammy Callahan has always just been like, yeah, has always like, especially at MLW, has pointed the finger at me. He's like, you're crazy. You just want to do all the crazy deathmatch shit. You love it, and I go, yeah, you're right. It's the Japanese fans are just so receptive. They were so loving. There's some American fans, like not even American, probably just Western fans, because it could be people from like France, whatever. That they always say like, I stole my name, I'm fake Japanese, and whenever I go over there, they know immediately. They ask me where I got my name from, which I didn't get from the anime Akira. I got it from when I was a kid, and I used to get picked on. I used to write a book, like crappy little short stories. I used to draw them too, and the main character's name was always Akira, and I got that from Akira Toriyama. And I was like 5, 6, so it wasn't like I'm thinking, ooh, Akira Toriyama. I just thought, ooh, I like that name, and it's close enough to my name, that I had, and even in, like, once I started wrestling, like my family had told me, hey, it's either wrestling and move out, / we're kicking you out, or get a job. And I said, okay, I'm leaving. So I don't have a last name in pro wrestling because my family kind of, kicked me out. And so I don't really claim them. But the Japanese were like, no, 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 no. I was told this by like 5 or 6 fans. They said, Coda, hush. Oh my God. Yeah, this is what I have to deal with. I have to deal with him being a brat. But like the Japanese fans had said to me specifically, they're like, no, Japan is your home. And I go, Okay. And like 5 or 6 of those fans, go upstairs. Go. Being a brat. Yeah. See, this is what I have to deal with, guys. Get moving.
Makes an appearance for the show.
Oh yeah. He's a brat. Go. Little demon. It's just the fans were just so much more loving and open, and they accepted everything, and they understood all the little character things I did. Like when I wrestled Ito-san, and I beat Ito-san, and I cleared the mat for him. A lot of American fans would not have noticed that. The Japanese fans said, "Oh, Akira-san, even in victory, he's so respectful to his veterans." It's a totally different culture thing. Like they truly in Japan love and believe in what you're doing, and I always believe in what I'm doing. People could say, I'm being edgy or being a tryhard. I'm just being me 100%, Like, I like landing on knife boards. I like eating glass. I love throwing middle fingers because my entire career has been a fucking middle finger to people like guys like Ian Rotten and dudes that have always disrespected me and never given me any kind of, credit to what I've been doing. And if you think that's being edgy and being a tryhard, I'm like, well, guess what? That's punk rock, bro. Like, I'm not going to apologize for being who I am. Like I told Minoru Suzuki yesterday, hit me harder, old man. Like he said, "Fuck you, young boy," and I said, "Fuck you, old man." And everyone was like, "Oh, what did you say?" And I'm like, I'm not taking your shit, dude. Like, if I could say it's a murder grandpa, I'll say it to fucking anybody. Like, I don't care. Like, I mean, in the best way. Japan is its own special place, and I can't wait to go back. America's great. I like American fans. They're loyal 100%. But the Japanese fans, it's a level of love and care and appreciation that I have never felt in all of my life.
So speaking on death matches, you talked about how important they've been to you in your career and helped develop who you are. This is a question from the fans' perspective. What do you feel like fans get the most out of coming to a live deathmatch show? Because it's a living, breathing thing. They're a totally different crowd. It's a totally different experience. From your perspective, what do the fans get out of deathmatch wrestling?
So when I started training, I didn't like death matches. I didn't shit on them, but I was like, I could never do that kind of thing. But when I watched Cologne, I watched 2 matches. I watched Slack versus Nick Gage. They said it couldn't be done, and then followed by Cologne and Kasai, and I got the true visceral chaos and brutality of what it could be, and I realized from a wrestler's perspective how doing these things can change the fans' perception of you from being, I was just a young kid to he's one of the craziest death fighters in the world. He's covered in scars, but he's also one of the hardest fucking pro wrestlers in the world. It's a visceral experience, and I'm gonna be honest, it's not for everybody, but I also think that the best part about death matches is there's so many different kinds of death matches. There's barbed wire death matches. I do death as deathmatch wrestlers. We need to focus on doing different kinds of death matches. But I believe that deathmatch fans they get the visceral, chaotic experience that you get like in a mosh pit at these shows. It's not for everybody, but it's something visceral and real that you're not going to get from regular pro wrestling.